Latinos Out Loud podcast. Latinos. Yeah, that's what this is. Latinos Out Loud.
Yo, hello, hi. It's your girl, Rachel La Loca. Yeah, it's me. It's really me. A little bit of lack of sleep, but I'm here. It may be a hologram. I'm not sure if I'm here, but I got to tell you about this weekend and what went down. Shout out to the 20th annual New York Comedy Festival and the two shows that I participated in over the weekend. Yo, it was crazy. Okay. First of all, on Saturday night, you guys know about Sketch Cram? Yeah, Sketch Cram has been around for a while at the UCB, the Upright Citizens Brigade. Alumni in the building. Shout out to UCB. Two-time diversity scholarship recipient, humble flex. Okay, we're flexing today. Mer. Okay, so Saturday was Sketch Cram. Shout out to Georgie Aldaco, one of the founders, Latina, former guest of the show. This is a sketch comedy show built in a day. The writers are called in at 9 a.m. The actors are called in at 6:30. The show goes up at 11:30 p.m. And it went up. Oh, it went all the way up. I had the best time. I got to tell you, the last time I did Sketch Cram, I wasn't in my 40s. So that was something that I was a little concerned about. I was like, what's mama's brain like in her 40s? Am I going to remember these lines? And humble flex, I had so much fun. We all nailed it. It was just the writing, um, the blocking, the guidance, the teamwork. Okay, you know it's the sueño work, all right? And it just really it came to fruition. Going into Sketch Cram, there are doubts. There's like, oh, am I going to be able to do this? Am I going to mess up my lines? And I can't even. It went so smooth. So shout out to everybody involved in Sketch Cram. I had the time of my life at the new UCB Theater, which you guys should check out over in Union Square. And then it didn't end there, bars. The next day was Morir Soñando. Yes, you guys know Morir Soñando. This is an amazing show brought to us by Glorelis Mora and Sasha Mercy, two more former guests and friends of the Latinos Out Loud podcast. And Hilarious, which is my all-female show, was a part of the mix. So this show was also in the New York Comedy Festival, and it went up at the United Palace, a cultural and iconic institution in the heart of Washington Heights. Yo, it was just so nice to be entre la gente, mi gente dominicana y arriba en Washington Heights. And to be at the United Palace, it's always an amazing honor to grace the foyer, or the vestibule area, or the stage. No matter what it is, to be in the building is super. It's just a really prestigious place to be, a lot of history and deep cultural roots. So Morir Soñando went up and the Hilarious show opened the show. We did a classic sketch called Man in a Bag. It's a game show where you can win your man in a bag. Um, Check that out on the Instagram. Follow at The Hilarious Show to see some snippets of the sketch. Big shout out to Alana Johnson, Sarah Ann Houghton, Phoenix Carnaval, Black Rose. These are my other female hilarious gals that were on stage with me. And then I have to shout out one more event that I did over the weekend. Yeah, it was a very event-filled weekend. The Secure the Big Bag and Wellness Summit. Shout out to former guest Victoria Jen Rodriguez, and she is host of the Banking on Cultura podcast. She had her summit also in the Heights at the Radio Hotel or the Radio Hotel, depending on what accent you want to use today. And it was amazing. It was a room filled with women, go getters who really are looking to secure the big bag and take care of their families and start businesses or scale their businesses. So it was amazing to be on the panel with my homegirl Chachi, another former guest of the Latinos Out Loud podcast, who now has a salsa album that is #1 on the Apple Latin charts. Amazing. My friends are amazing. Honestly, shout out to all my friends. You're freaking amazing. You give me fuel. So that was Saturday morning, and I did a panel on miscarriage, infertility, and perimenopause. Three topics that we don't often broach in the Latina community. They tell us that they're taboo. Sweep them under the rug with the mistolin and the fabuloso. No, what if I don't want to? I want to talk about it. I've been talking about these topics, and I think I'm going to continue to. It just also empowers others. Once you tell your stories of loss and perseverance that end up in triumph, you know what I'm saying? It's inspiring. Others listen, and then that gives them the strength to talk about it and to keep evangelizing the message on and on and on and on and on, which I could go forever, but we have a guest that's about to come through those doors here at the United Way. Do you see where I am? I'm going to move my big head. We're at the United Way, New York City. Yeah, here on 42nd Street, 40 Deuce. So I'm going to stop talking for now. We have a great guest that's coming through the doors, so stay tuned for that. Aight? Yo, 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 LOLeros. Hola, buen día. ¿Cómo están ustedes? We'll do a little Spanglish today. Why not? My dad, the Spanish teacher, retired now, would be proud. You guys, we're here, loca on location, LOL, if you like acronyms the way I do. Gosh, I love acronyms. I love all grammar, to be honest. Anyway, come at me with your grammatical questions. I'm on location here at the United Way. You see this amazing sign behind me, and you might see this amazing woman next to me. I'm going to introduce her now. I am so excited to have this woman on the show because you know we love trailblazers here. We got a thing for trailblazers at Latinos Out Loud. I'm just saying, 413 episodes in, and most of those people that have been on the shows are trailblazers.
That's amazing.
We have the first Latine woman president and CEO of the United Way right here, going the Latinos Out Loud way today, bars. Hola, Grace Bonilla. How are you?
Muy bien, gracias.
It's so good to have you.
Likewise, I'm so excited we're doing this.
Me too. This has been on the calendar for a while. I've been
Yes.
filled with anticipation and a little bit of anxiety.
Likewise. So we can hold hands
We
through
can
this.
totally hold hands.
Okay, we're gonna be
Okay, I'm such a
fine.
hand holder. I swear, I just went to a screening the other day of a very scary
Oh,
film.
no, I don't do those.
Shout out to Elvis Nolasco, who's a Dominican actor, and he's Mr. Halloween, they called him, for his show, Mr. Crockett. And so I was next to a journalist, this girl, Joanna Ferreira, shout out to her from Pop Sugar. We held hands the whole film.
That's amazing.
It was amazing.
So we can do the same thing if it feels better.
Well, I'll tell you where my anxiety came from.
Yeah, tell me.
You're a very important person. You're
Not
a
more
VIP.
important than you.
I am so not as important as you. Okay, no, you guys, we're all important. That's no good. I don't want to sound like I don't have good self-esteem because I have great self-esteem. Okay, but when I read about you and what you've done and what you do, injecting curriculum into the schools. This is important. I have 2 kids in the schools. They're
that's
learning
amazing.
about their Latine heritage because of you.
Yeah,
Okay, so let's kick off this interview.
absolutely.
Let's rewind. Could you please tell everybody about what you do? So, what does the president and CEO of the United Way do? Maybe you want to share a little bit about your day to day.
Absolutely. Well, on good days, I do stuff like this, and I get to meet amazing people like you.
Ow.
But honestly, I get to run an 86-year-old organization that has been flexible enough through every up and down in this country and in this city to respond to the needs. So that's pretty cool.
That's so cool.
So we do that in 4 ways. We have health equity, we have education equity, food and benefits, as well as our justice program where we have mental health services for those who are systems involved. But you asked me about our curriculum and why that is such an exciting moment for us. So last year for 3 years, we worked on a Black curriculum, Black Studies curriculum, that we were able to deliver to the DOE on June 28th. And I remember it perfectly because it's my husband's birthday. So, and I can't
Special
forget that
day.
name. I can't forget that date. And we were like, here you go. Let's start implementing this. And the success of that proved to us that we are the type of convener that can bring very complicated voices together. And you know how complicated our community is, right?
Yes.
And really create something that's meaningful for our young people. So when we were looking at the data, and we're like 40% of the student body in New York City's public schools are Latinos. And they don't see themselves in science, in English, in math.
Right.
And we have such a rich history. And I have to tell you, I'm embarrassed to say, like, I didn't grow up with our history. I didn't learn about us, right? And the amazing things that we've done. So it's a real privilege to be able to take the name of United Way of New York City and the opportunity that I've been given in this position to say, how about a little representation in our schools?
Okay, I want to give you a standing ovation, but I'll mess up the shot and the mics. You guys, I hope you're standing at home. Please put your hands together real quick for that, because we talk about this all the time. We talk about it in Hollywood. It's hard to see ourselves.
Yeah.
And you bring up a really good point. I remember growing up, I'm a product of public school here in New York City, and I only really saw my culture and heritage when I visited the Dominican Republic with my family. That's when we went to the museums. That's when we learned
Yeah.
about all that stuff. Or like oral traditions were passed down to me, and I
Mhm.
heard about it. But like in school, with the textbooks, we're like, Pilar, quiere
Right.
ir a España. I'm like, I don't got no Pilar in my family.
Right.
There's nobody named Pilar in my
Right.
family.
So like you, my parents are Ecuadorian immigrants, right? So like the immigrant story, my camp was Ecuador, right? And I didn't really learn anything about our people until I was in Ecuador.
Right.
And so there was like this disconnect of being a New Yorker and Ecuadorian, and the two never came together for me, right? So this is a real opportunity to show Dominicanos, Puerto Ricanos, Ecuadorianos, Colombianos, this is who your people are, and this is why you're great, and this is why you get to be great. And what's nice about that is that all of the studies show that kids who are just see other people's culture. So it's not just about the 40% of the kids. We're talking about all the kids, right? We're
Yeah.
talking about the kids that are going to learn about Black studies, going to learn about Latine studies. They get a sense of belonging. The graduation grades go up. Chronic absenteeism goes down. There's a real science to this, which is why I have such a level of urgency around this, especially after COVID and so many kids not going back to the school system. And that's a national crisis. So we get to
Scary.
really do something in New York that's exciting.
Wow, that's so scary.
It is scary.
But
Yeah.
like the fact that you have taken action, how long have you been in your position for?
2.5 years.
That's like a lot to do in only being here for 2.5 years.
I have an amazing team. I really do. And the beauty about working in this organization is that the people that are attracted to it love this city. I love the city. I'm a native New Yorker. I was born in Jamaica Hospital, grew up in Jamaica, Queens. And exactly. Yes.
Okay.
And that. And it really makes you want to make your city better
Yeah.
and amazing.
Yeah.
And those are the kind of people that come to work in this organization. So why not do bold, amazing things while we have the opportunity?
That's so lovely. I love that you're a Queens native. I represent Brooklyn.
Okay, look at that. Outer boroughs in the house. I love it.
Sheepshead Bay, deep.
Love it. Oh, man.
South
Okay.
Brooklyn. Hi,
Yes.
shout out to everybody from Sheepshead Bay, Coney Island, Q Train, almost the last stop.
Yes.
And then prior to
no
this,
trains.
yeah, what was that?
We had no trains. We had the F
Oh.
train and then the Q60 down to my hood. So
Oh,
Thank
so
you,
you were
Jamaica.
too,
yeah.
not too fair, but like
Yeah.
bus to the train type of girl.
uh-huh.
I get it. And I love the bus, by the way. I really do. I had the privilege of interviewing Mayor Adams last week.
Did you?
Yes.
That's amazing.
And
we
I-
come from the same hood. Yes.
Oh, yeah, he totally represents Queens.
Yeah.
And my 6-year-old, on my way to drop him off to
Yeah.
school, he's like, Mommy, can you ask Mayor Adams if he can get the buses a little cleaner for us in the
you
morning?
ask
I
him?
sure did.
Oh, I love that. Look at him.
Yeah.
He's already getting in the business.
Oh, he totally is. I mean,
Love
he's been hearing mommy yo, yo, yo now since inside the womb. He may be a future podcaster. We'll
There you
see.
go.
We'll put a pin in that. So you've been in the nonprofit space for a while. Prior to this, you were at the Covenant
so
House.
I'm mainly in government space.
In government. Tell
So
us
I
about
ran the largest social services agency in the country during COVID. So I was with, I worked for Mayor Bloomberg and Mayor de Blasio. So I was there for Sandy and for COVID.
Wow.
And I think that seeing New Yorkers come together in those pivotal moments is what gives me so much hope for our city. But yes, I've also been in the nonprofit sector. I had the privilege of working at Covenant House in Latin America with homeless and trafficked youth.
Wow.
And I have to say, when we talk about our culture, nuestra cultura, that las ganas that our people have, it really was what I learned from very young people who've gone through the worst things and are still able to laugh and find joy. And it created a level of resilience in me that I was not prepared for.
Wow. I mean, so we always congratulate people that come on the show that do
Mhm.
projects with purpose. Because not everybody does,
Yeah.
you know, especially in the entertainment industry, which most of our guests hail from. But it's really moving to hear your love for this city and how you're moving it forward. So I'd like to ask Grace Bonilla, what's next? Like, what are you working on now? Could you tease us with any?
So certainly working on our Latine studies, that's going to be a project of love for a minute, but we're also bringing health equity to our communities.
Okay.
So what we know is that for a lot of communities, a lot of zip codes, their primary health care provider is the emergency room.
Yes.
And we
Yes.
want to disrupt that as quickly as possible. So the way you do that is you go to trusted members of the community, you go to nonprofits, and you give them the language to talk about health. So that's absolutely coming up next. In our systems involved folks, we're starting a workforce development program. And we want people to know that they can re-enter the community, not because of the worst thing they've ever done, but because we are giving them the tools to succeed. So I'm really excited about that. And then, we'll see what the political climate brings and how we need to respond, and we need to stay agile and flexible for that as well.
We sure do. Grace, how can the LOLeros get involved or learn more about any of these wonderful programs?
I love that question. So please look us up, UWNYC.org, and volunteer, give, and really advocate. One of the things that I also want to say, especially since we're talking about the Latino community, is that our true cost of living showed that 50% of New Yorkers post-pandemic working New Yorkers cannot make ends meet. And in the Latino community, that goes up significantly, even in households where people have 1 and 2 jobs. So we all have power and we all have agency. And what I ask your followers and listeners to do is join us in this fight to make this city equitable for all of us and make sure that no matter what the zip code, we're thriving.
Wonderful. I guess I want to get a little personal at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm scared.
Not too personal. I hope that.
Go for it. Go for it.
I just want to know how you got here, Grace.
Oh.
Like, how? I mean, Deborah Cox, how did you get here? Like, how did you get here? Did it, like, when you were in college, did it come to you? Like, did you say you want to base your efforts in the community, or did you get an internship somewhere? Like, how did this all start?
I mean, so I come from a family that's very service oriented. So I always knew that I was going to be in service. What that looked like, I had no idea. I thought I was going to run for office. I thought that I was going to work at legal aid for the rest of my life. There were moments in my career where someone saw something in me that I had not seen in myself yet and gave me the opportunities that led me here. Even the way this position happened, someone said, I think you should apply. I didn't think United Way for a long time for me, having run a smaller nonprofit, was the elite nonprofit in the city.
Huge.
Right?
Yeah.
I never thought I was going to run United Way of New York City. And I think it's that idea that other people can believe in you and kind of just, lift you as they rise. And that's what we want to do now. We want to continue that legacy in this organization for every New Yorker.
And where did you go to school?
So I am the product of Catholic school system. I went to an all-girls school, the Mary Louis Academy in Queens. And I think that that's where I got my love of how powerful women can be together.
Yes.
So even as I am preparing for tonight to meet with our Women United, which is a group of powerful New York women who are trying to be partners with us on how do we move the city forward. So those spaces give me so much joy. Because it reminds me of how I grew up and the women that were around me to make sure that I had a safety net.
Grace, I have an all-female comedy troupe called the Hilarious Show.
I love that.
We were just in the New York Comedy Festival
Oh my
over the
goodness.
weekend, so I know what it's like to be surrounded by this like ovarian power
Yes.
that just kind of takes over, envelops you with magical feelings.
Absolutely.
And then everyone's in sync for their menstruation. It's just so lovely.
It's chemical, it's hormonal, it's all the things, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing. And I have now an incredible group of Latinas who are professionals in private, public, and public spaces where we're like, yes, we're going to lift each other up. And I think that's how you get to spaces like this. It doesn't happen by yourself.
Right.
And what I hope is that folks like me who are in these positions are seeing that talent in the folks that are coming up, in our women, in our young men who are just trying to make it and don't even know how amazing they can be.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, okay, we have some, I would love for you to share some like parting words here. And I often ask this question of guests, like, if you had a young Grace Bonilla right in front of you, what are some words that you would tell her, knowing that you are where you are today? What are some words of encouragement or advice that you have for her? Because young Grace Bonilla is out there listening, and she
So,
needs some guidance.
so I'm also the oldest of four. The first one that was sort of like the door to my family getting information. And I think I really internalized that, right? I translated the world for the adults in my family. So I think what I would tell a younger me is to enjoy the ride. I don't think I took enough time to just look around and be like, as hard as it could be at any moment, everything is an opportunity and just enjoy the ride.
That's so sweet. Yeah, because we're on the ride sometimes and we're like, this is a bumpy ride.
Yes.
I'm not enjoying
Yes.
this. But really, the bumps are what are earning your stripes.
Absolutely.
And then when you get off the ride, you're like, I did that.
Absolutely.
I
And
did.
sometimes we don't stop enough to say, I did that. We just go to the next ride,
I
right?
am so guilty
Yeah.
of that. I
Yeah.
always, the corporate term is sometimes you have to step off the hamster wheel,
Yes.
get some
Yes.
water, look at how
Yes.
much you've been running all
That's
day,
right.
check your iPhone, the workout app, you know
That's
what I mean?
That's right. That's right.
Which is so
And when
hard
you're
to
young,
do.
you just don't do that, right? You're so in such a hurry to grow up and in such a hurry to deliver for the people who delivered for you
Yeah.
that you don't enjoy it. So I would say enjoy it. Enjoy it out there. It is
Enjoy
worth it. Yes.
Okay, one last question because I'm dying to know. What's your favorite thing about your job?
I really love speaking to our younger staff. You'll know what I mean. The younger staff that's coming up and the younger workforce that's coming up, they're looking for work-life balance. I don't know what that means. I don't even know how to find it in the dictionary. They talk about self-care in a way. I'm a Gen Xer. We don't know what that looks like. But they have challenged us in such a way in our organization to really think about how do you enjoy it? How do you just not say it, but actually give people the space to enjoy what's really, really hard? These jobs are hard. We're talking about people who need so much. And taking care of the caretakers is something that our younger staff has really pushed me to do. So speaking to them and being challenged by them is one of my favorite parts of my job.
Thank you for sharing that. Okay, well, shout out to an organization that really lifts everyone up, and it
Thank
sounds
you.
like there's a queen at the helm.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So, any call to action aside from the website? Should they follow you on social?
Please follow us on social, absolutely, and you will see some of the amazing things that we get to do, like talk to you, get our message out there. But really, at this point, I think there's a lot of anxiety in the city and across the country for many reasons, and I think it's an opportunity for us to come together. And United Way of New York City is a place where we can bring people together.
I love it. Well, thanks for bringing us together here. Shout out to everybody behind the scenes who made this episode happen and to your team. Thank you so much for
Thank
your
you.
time. I know you are a busy VIP, but this has been a very impactful interview, and I know people will be motivated, inspired, and wanting to learn more about
I'm
the
so
United
glad.
Way of New York City.
I'm so glad. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thanks, Grace. All right, you guys, this has been another very fulfilling episode of Latinos Out Loud. Sometimes the comedy has to take a little bit of a backseat. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes there are episodes where it's a joke canon, but like, I wanted to hear from Grace, and I'm so glad. Like, please, there were so many jokes in my head that like were just ready to come out, but I was like, nope, we're gonna hold on to that. We're gonna save it for later. This has been Latinos Out Loud. As you guys know, you could follow us at We Are Latinos Out Loud. You can follow me at Rachel La Loca. You can give us a call. We have a phone number, 978 Latinos. I swear, it's 978 Latinos. Ask me how we got that number. I don't know. 978 Latinos. And on that note, oh wait, they'll kill me if I don't say this. Make sure to check us out on YouTube, the tube of you, and the tube of me. Me and you are on YouTube. That doesn't sound right. You know what I mean. So go to Latinos Out Loud on YouTube. And on that note, we out.
It's the Latinos Out Loud podcast.